self-concept. If you're watching this video right now, you are interested in learning more or potentially understanding more about it. Have you ever started to try to make a change and you're building some momentum, or maybe you changing habits? It could be about weight, it could be about money, it could be about a specific relationship, and things are going really good, and then all of a sudden the bottom drops out and everything kind of crumbles away. It feels like you go right back to where you started. No matter how much energy you put in, you don't seem to be getting anything out. Well, this is another way to say that self-concept you have of yourself is not in alignment. It is not in the same space in the thing that you want to experience. I'm going to get more into what that means and what it looks like, and most importantly, how you can make changes to maximize the power of your self-concept and not have it be a detriment, but to how it can help you get and experience the things you want in your life. My name is Abby, and I help people to consciously create their life through practical spirituality. And yes, in this video, we're going to be breaking down self-concept, and I'm going to be specifically teaching and talking about the words of Neville Goddard. So let's get into it. What is it? What is a self-concept? It's as literally as it says. It's the concept you have of yourself, your perceptions of yourself, how your abilities, what you're able to do, who you are, how you move in the world, how you're supposed to be treated, what you're supposed to receive. Everything, every perception you have of yourself is basically in this box, in this bubble of the concept, the image, the view you have of yourself. Now that can be great, like I mentioned earlier, if you're a very successful person, right? If the concept you have of yourself is no matter what happens, I succeed. No matter where I go, the thing that I want is following me. It's coming to me. We're meeting in the middle. Right? So that's great. No matter if something fails or it doesn't go the way you want it, inside of you, you believe at a cellular level that everything's meant to be, and it's all going, whatever is meant for you is going to find you. However, it can be a concept of yourself that no matter how hard you try, you never get what you want. That when you move towards people, they move away. That in order to be in a relationship, you have to give and give and give and fix and be the helper and the rescuer, whatever the case. Right? If that's the perception in which you see situations, you're going to bring those limitations with you. The limitations that are essentially clicked on to the concept you have of yourself. So if you have a concept of yourself that you're not good enough, you will go out into the world, you'll put on your perceptional filters. These glasses are really, really dirty, but it's actually pretty fitting because it's really blurry in here. I need to clean them. But that's basically the lack of clarity you could be seeing on the situation. So although there's all sorts of different situations and potentials that are happening in existence in your life right now, if you have a self-concept that you're not good enough, if you have a self-concept that the thing that you want, you never get, right? You will look out into the world through the perceptional filter of that idea, and you'll only find what is in alignment with it. Basically, another way to say this is confirmation bias. Oh, look, here's the disappointing situation. Here's the letdown at a job. Here's the end of the relationship. Here's somebody telling me that I'm not good enough. Ah, yeah, I knew it. Those are not all the potentials happening right now, but those are the only ones you're able to find because of the concept you have of yourself. As you start to look at yourself and understand what your perception of yourself is, you'll actually be able to expand your awareness of different situations. Meaning that if you start becoming aware of, maybe deep down I do feel like I'm going to be abandoned, or I do feel like I'm not good enough. And you show up into a situation rather than going down a path of the old, which is excluding yourself by saying, oh, I'm not good enough. They'll probably never pick me. I definitely won't get this job. It never happens to me. They're going to say no if I ask them out. I'm not even going to ask them out. As you start to become aware of that impulse for self-rejection, you'll be able to move in a new way, make a new choice. Okay, you know what? I've never actually tried this because usually I abandon myself before that. Usually I deny myself the option because I say no to myself before anyone else can do it. That's a way of self-protection. And the reason you have this is because it was an early on coping mechanism. Basically a way you learned on your primary upbringing. No one is at fault. We're not blaming anyone, but the environment you grew up in, specifically in regards to emotions, Basically, that was a cause, and it's producing effects. It's producing or has produced a way in which you navigate so you can get your needs met, so you can stay safe. However, you're not 5 years old, you're not 8 years old, and you're not in that environment anymore. That doesn't mean you're acting like a baby if you still have these bad habits, but these habits and ways of being are not appropriate for your current life dynamics. You don't wear the same shoes you do when you were 8 years old. You don't wear the same clothes. You don't navigate. You don't do the same work. 8-year-old showing up for the job you do now could not hang. Yet oftentimes we're making decisions based on our 8-year-old, 5-year-old, 3-year-old emotional intelligence levels at the time in our current adult lives. So you can start to see, okay, yeah, the view and perception I have of myself could be extremely limiting if those beliefs, if that concept of me is limiting. Yeah, I could see that if I'm wanting to manifest abundance and make $100,000, but I feel like I'm not smart enough, I will literally block out the opportunities from my perceptual awareness and only find the situations that confirm that I'm not smart enough. It's not an absolute truth. It's not a universal law that you're not smart enough that you can't make $100,000. But when you apply that limitation that you're not smart enough, you're finding situations, you have those assumptions, you're giving consent and permission for it to be true, that you believe you're not good enough, so you're going to get a serving of those opportunities from the universe. If you start to see that and identify it and say, wow, this thing happened when I was little and I grew up thinking that I wasn't smart. Maybe the way you think is so much more broad and dynamic than a classroom. You perceive that since you didn't fit in that dynamic, you weren't enough. But really, the beautiful way your brain works is an enhancement to this world, and you can actually add value to all of us. And that value of expansion of the world through your eyes, you'll be able to receive value back, aka money, right? And maybe it's about love, maybe it's about a relationship. Maybe in your self-concept, in your deep perception of yourself, you think, when I move close to somebody, when I really put myself out there, they leave. That is the concept, the perception you have of yourself, that you are going to be abandoned. Maybe that you're not good enough. Maybe that you're not lovable. Whatever it is, when you look out into the world, if you're emotionally unavailable to yourself, potentially unconsciously, you're not aware that you're emotionally unavailable because you keep looking outside of you for the solution to feel better. When you do that, you keep finding people who are emotionally unavailable. You really want to make it work and you really try hard, and then you feel empty-handed. So that's perpetuating, confirming concept you have of yourself. So what do? How the hell do you move out of it? The first step is about recognition, becoming aware of what it is you think. What is your self-concept? Not the self-concept you wish you had or want to have, but what self-concept do you have right now? If you keep finding financial limitations and keep feeling a lot of scarcity with money, what is it that you would really need to believe about yourself? This is the time to peel off the bullshit and start getting real. Not for me, not for anybody else in your life, but for you. Only when you start to see the truth of what is can you make changes. It doesn't make it absolute and concrete if you say, you know what, yeah, I've been believing that I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy of money. Shit, okay, now that I'm aware of the issue, I can make changes. But if I keep denying that I don't feel worthy, I'm like, no, I'm worthy, I feel great. Okay, the bank account's low. Okay, but I feel worthy. You don't believe it to be true. You're talking about it and you want it to be true, but only when you become aware and only when you name it. Not sit in it and say, oh God, there's nothing I can do, but look at what is actually happening. Same thing goes with relationships. If you keep getting rejected, if you keep getting ghosted, what is it that you would need to believe? What is it that someone would need to believe about themselves in order to get that experience? And then start seeing, okay, where do I make the choice? When do I abandon myself in that moment? When do I make their opinion more important than mine? You're just trying to become aware. That's the first step in changing your self-concept, in expanding your self-concept, is through awareness. After you start looking to see, okay, what is it that I actually believe? That's the first step in dissolving a belief. The second step is to go in the origin. Where the hell did this come from? What situation did I perceive of that made me think I wasn't good enough? Go back to the origin and cut the cord of what is actually supplying it with life. The more you do this, the more you become aware, the more that will be essentially pruned in your brain, and those synapses will start firing. You'll start developing a new neural pathway that's going to establish that new self-concept. The one quote I want to leave you with by Neville is, you cannot take into the new consciousness level, basically the new version of you, your new self-concept, any part of the old man. And I don't know why he uses the word old man, but let's just go with it. I'm not an old man, but you understand that old you. All present beliefs, fears, and limitations are weights that bind you to your current consciousness level. So start looking at what they are. As you become aware of them, you can be aware of how to navigate and let them go, which is going to open you up to receive the experience that you want and you deserve. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give this video a like. If you haven't done so already, join this community. We would love to have you. We would love to have you. Click the subscribe button below. And if you like this video and you got value from it, I suggest you watch this one as well. I think you're going to really like it. I love y'all, and I'll see you on the next one.